Alright guys, so today I wanted to go ahead and do something a little bit similar but different. And so I'm going to start kind of from the garden. First, I would like to make a correction from something that I did a while back before I lost internet. And that is to review one of the things that I had you guys doing in the flow drill, which was the backflip to side. And if you guys were trying to do that, and you found that you were landing on your dummy's head, or hopefully not your partner's head, that's because I showed you a little bit wrong. And so the thing is that if I put my head here, right, I need to angle my feet that way. I need to go to the opposite side. If I try to go to this side, my body's kind of trying to push me that way, right? And so I'm more likely to kind of go straight forward. But if I go at this full angle here, okay, you see that I'm not even close to my partner's head. Now, from here, I kind of tend to like to turn towards the legs a little bit, but I suppose you don't really have to, because right now my back is creating that pressure on here. What I don't want to do is I don't want him to like start to bridge that way and start to scooch under me, right? So you could go either way, right? So here, lock, and sit, right? Or if I'm here, I could go the other direction. And the reason why you might want to do that, and I don't think it's nearly as easy as going towards the hips, is that if I go this direction and he starts to scooch under me, right, I'm moving towards his head, so I'm moving away from his legs, so it's going to be harder for him to start to pull me into the guard or take my back. Does that make sense? So that's my correction for today. Now, for what we're going to be working on today, so remember that when I'm here, like right now, we're going to start from an ice block position, right? So what that means is that I'm sitting on his feet here, right? So he's like trying to put his hooks in. Maybe he's going to be trying to sweep me with his hooks, or start to back out and go for headlocks or something like that. And so what I need to do is I need to stop his hips from moving, right? I don't want him to back out, and I don't want him to back out and come up on top of me, and I don't want him to be able to sweep me. So I'm going to bring my face down and put my head on his waist. I'm going to pinch my elbows to my knees here. This is your ice block position. Now, especially if you're wearing a gi, this is not a position that you're completely out of the woods here, right? You're still in the guard. The elevator sweep is from here, right? And so your opponent could, sit up, grab your belts, extend one leg, and then flip you over that way. So, we want to be really mindful if that kind of thing is starting to happen here, right? So from right here, I'm going to back my hands out and I'm going to put them up on his hips, right? Because I don't want him to start to move side to side, and I need to kind of clear that. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to move backwards. Now, when I do this, my hands are on my hips, but he's going to try to maintain connection here. So his feet are going to follow me and get onto my hooks. So I need to deal with that. So I'm going to build my posture up and I'm going to move my hands. If he's wearing pants, I'm going to grip onto the pant legs here, right around the knee. If not, I can just kind of grab kind of like here on his knees. And so what I'm going to do is I need to clear one of those hooks and get into the hub, right? If I try to just come straight up, he's just going to project his hips up and bring his knees up, and that's going to block me from coming straight on top of him, right? So it's going to be really hard for me to do that. And if I were to try to like flip from here, then his legs are going to follow me to an extent, right? That's not to say that's not possible, but it's definitely going to be a much harder and much riskier thing to do. So instead, I'm going to get to the hub position, right? So he's got both his feet are on the inside and they're hooking here. So I need to clear one. So I've got control of his knees here, right? And if he grabs an ankle, then I can't do this technique with that, right? One way that I might do that, if he grabs the ankle, again, his grip on that ankle, right? He's going to be here, right? He's going to grip this way, right? And he's not going to put his thumb there, right? He potentially could, but that's going to be a harder grip for him to hold. And I'm not going to say that what we're about to do is going to be easy, but once I get into this position and he's starting to grab onto that ankle, I'm going to kick my foot forward. Now I'm still on that hook, and I notice when I'm doing that, right, I don't want to come far one way or the other, right? I'm not, making this a big thing that involves my entire body too much. I just want to keep that free so that he can't follow. Again, he's got a hook in, right? So he can start to maneuver me, and the more I'm on just one foot, the more likely he's going to be able to start to manipulate me and take me over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly make a little circle here, and then I'm going to turn my knee down and in, right? And if he's grabbing onto one ankle, let's say he's grabbing onto this one just because it's going to be easier for me to demonstrate, but if he's grabbing onto this one, I don't necessarily need to clear that, right? So I'm going to turn my knee in, I'm going to pressure down onto his ankle here, right? So that his foot can't follow me. If I try to lift up and step off, his foot's just going to travel up. I'm not going to be able to get my foot high enough to clear that hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin his ankle down with my knee. I'm going to kick myself in my own ass and make a little circle there, right? So his knee's not going to be able to follow. I'm keeping it in one place, and then I'm doing this circle so that I can clear the toes, right? So I'm just going up and around. And what people tend to get wrong about this is they do this, right? And I do it too from time to time, but the thing is his toes are in the way, right? I'm not going to be able to get around his toes unless I get this up, right? He's hooked right here, right? I guess you can kind of see that there, right? Right, so I'm moving, the toes are here, the hooking up here, right? Right, and I'm going to move it out of the way. So, I get into this, I need to control the knees here, right? You could, I suppose, probably put your hand on this hip here and just control this knee. I suppose that's possible. I think I have more potential of him, pulling on that arm and then establishing another position. There are sweeps that he can do from here that involve grabbing that arm and sitting up and getting kind of in a seated De La Riva position, or if you remember from the Tarzan drill, right? That second position where you sit up and you are kind of hugging the leg. There's a sweep there where if he comes up and sits and holds onto this leg, he can pass it to the other arm, grab onto my neck, and pull me down, and I'm going to roll out, and he's going to take side control, right? So I do need to be mindful of that, and I don't necessarily want my hands convenient for him to get to. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to be up here on the knees. So I'm here, I do that circle, I clear the butt, and the moment I do that, once I'm free, right, I need to start making sure that he can get his hook back in, right? I just passed it, but it's going to be really easy for him to put that hook right back to where it was, or go into that Tarzan position and come up to the position I was just talking about. So what I need to do is I need to start pushing my knee and my shin into the back of his hamstring here, right? I'm pressuring him, so now his leg is stuck on this side of my leg. And so from here, I still have this hook that I need to worry about, right? So his leg's on the outside here. So from here, since he has that still hooked on there, I could, start a knee cut, right? So I don't have to do anything more. I don't have to even worry about that hook. I've got that path, so I can keep him down here, and I can put my leg across here, and I'm putting my weight on my hip, not in this junk here. So from here, as I start to slide down, he's not going to be able to follow me as easily with this. Sometimes I can just push this through and step over, right? So now I'm starting this knee cut. Now, a couple things that can happen here, right, is that once you get into this kind of knee cut position, this is an inside knee cut, right, cut. So if the first thing I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for an underhook on this side. If I don't get that underhook and I slide out here, he's going to immediately turn into me and take my back. I don't want that, right? So I need to have that underhook here. Now, if he doesn't get that underhook right away, I need to start moving to the other side here. So instead of being this inside knee cut, I'm going to start coming over to this side, right? So before that I do that, right, I need to make sure that I have a post, because he's in a position where he can start to sweep me that way. So I need to come down and get low here, right? And so I've got a post out here, right, because that's the direction I'm going to be going here in a second, but I don't have the underhook, right? So I'm being really close here, but I'm going to start working for the underhook here. I'm going to move my head to the other side, right? And again, order of operations here, you can move your head over first and be heavy over this side. Now, I'm gonna hip up a little bit, right? I wanna make sure that my weight's on his shoulder. If he bridges into me, I don't wanna get flipped here, right? So I'm just briefly coming over and putting my foot down this side. Now, it's gonna be very common at this point for somebody to start to hold on to my ankle here. They're gonna pinch their knees together and they're gonna hold on as if that's gonna do them much good. So from here, right, I'm kind of in a mount position, but it's gonna be really hard for me to get that leg free. And as you guys know, like if he were to start to turn in and then flatten back out, he's gonna be able to pick up my shin here and push me into half guard. And then I'm gonna lose everything that I worked for here, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm not gonna try to hang out here to try to see if I can get to the mount, right? That's greedy, it's not gonna work very well. So what I can do here, right, is I've got this underhook here. I'm gonna make sure that's tight. A lot of times I'm gonna put my forehead on the ground here and I'm gonna post out wide, right? So that he can't turn into me. This underhook's gonna prevent him from taking my back. Now, this is a little more dangerous, and if you want to, you can put your hand higher. Just feel what he's doing here, because if he starts bridging, you need to respect that, right? So I'm going to start to put my hips up, and I'm going to sneak my leg through, like that, right? And then from here, I start to just come into this kind of switch-based position. He's not going to be able to hold onto that leg, okay? So from the beginning, I've got this ice block position, right? And then I'm going to put my hands on the hip, and I'm going to step back and here. I'm going to move my hands up to the knees, right? So it just makes it harder for him. If he has a grip on my ankle, I'm going to clear that. Now from here, I pressure down onto his shin so that he can't follow, and I kick myself in the ass, making that big circle here to move his knee to the outside. Immediately, I'm going to pressure in onto that hamstring. This is very important because if you're staying loose here, you don't have much connection. He's going to get the connection that he wants. So I'm pressuring in here so that he can't do that. Now, I put my palm on the same side hip as my shin here, just to make it harder for him to follow me, right? It's also so that I can start to sneak it in, right? So I'm going to start to drive down here, and when I do so, and I guess I haven't mentioned this before, my coach recently mentioned it, and I think it's actually a very good point. Don't be here, right, with my shoulders in front of my hip. I don't have, my weight is not on him anymore when I do that, right? My weight's actually on like this near side hip. If he turns into me, he's gonna complete that pass for me. And again, if I don't have that underhook, he's gonna take my back. So when I'm here, right, I start that cut and I'm going to switch positions between my shoulders and my hips, right? I need to push my hips further forward than my shoulders, so now my weight is on his hips more, right? So you see I've projected my hips forward here, so it's going to be harder for him to necessarily roll and get me off here, right? So I'm going to search for this underhook here as I switch sides. So I'm just going to cross and I switch here, right? Now he can't take my back. I've got that underhook on this side. And most times, guys, they know that this is the underhooking side that they need to be worried about. They're not as concerned with this side. So once I get to this underhook, it's going to be less guarded, it's going to be easier for you to get. And at this point, guys, if you don't have that underhook on this side, I started saying that, thinking that I had immediately something I wanted to say here. But, if you don't immediately get the underhook on here, I might not complete this pass either, right? If you don't get it. So you might start working for stuff here if you have to. And if they're going to start trying to push you into the half guard, guys, that's going to be a moment where they are going to, get onto the side. They're going to start to extend that arm a little bit, so you're going to be able to get an underhook on one side or the other. But now you're going to have to deal with a half guard, and it's not the end of the world, right? It's not. A lot of times, like if I get stuck in that half guard, guys, I'm just going to put my arm on this side. I'm going to sit back. I'm stuck in that half guard, and I'm going to use my forearm to kind of project that leg off. So it's not the end of the world, right? So I got here, now I'm going to hip up, I'm going to slide my leg through. Now, my coach actually goes higher than I do, right? He goes, I need all this space to come through here. And that's great. I don't know that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I just kind of, I like to be tighter if I can be tighter. And so for me, right, I'm coming up just barely enough to to move that leg through, right? Just because I feel like I'm gonna be more stable there. But, you know, play with it, and if you guys are putting your ass way up high in the air and you never have any consequences from that, great, that's fine, do it. You know, so from here, I just don't like having my hips higher than my shoulders unless I absolutely need to. So from here, I'm just gonna slide out, extend my leg, make sure I got that pinch here, guys. Because again, he can bridge in and he can start to try to hip under me and start pulling me back into the guard. So I need to make sure that there's no space here for him to get his leg in. And then now I'm here to this side control position. All right.